again, it's good to see everybody going through the comment section, seeing the countries you're all joining from. That is the reach to which Ajiro Tech has gone, and it's good to see that everybody's here and having that tension, which is normal. 6 days to your exam, I know the feeling. Yeah, I know the feeling, and hopefully after this class, we'll be able to handle those things as well. So just straight to business, right? So yes, for your IGCSE ICT paper 2, yes, it comprises of 3 things. The first one is your document production. And then we have databases. And then we have presentations. So invariably, you're having chapter 18, chapter 19. And here it's a bit dicey because you're having chapter 9. No, you're having chapter 9 here as well. You're also having it here as well, right? So you're having chapter 9. You're having chapter 13. You're having chapter 14. You're having chapter 15. And you're having chapter 17. So many chapters. You're also having chapter 11, but then again, it covers across board. Here as well, you can also have chapter 9 to give you that understanding. So these are the chapters we probably have to go through. All right. So let's begin. So let's start off with the most difficult. Yes, databases. So let's start with databases. Yes. And this has the most mark. Okay. This has the most mark. So again, when we talk about databases, it's important for us to have an idea of what it is, really, because in this particular class, I'll be doing a dive through on the things that you need to learn. Are you with me? Or the things you need to learn so that at the end of the day, you probably have a breather when you go into your examination hall. And I'm going to do that right about now. Okay. So, yes, the first question on everybody's mind will be, okay, so probably what is a database? Again, a database is just an organized collection of data, right? So it's the first thing we need to know. Organized collection of data. Okay. And how we organize it is very important. And we have a software, right, that helps us to be able to store, right? A program that helps us to store, okay, and retrieve, okay, that data. But here it is in a structured way. In a structured way. And straight up to our access object, what we call the database object. Now, in your database object, right, we have the following. This is very important. And of course, the recommended software according to chapter 13 for databases is your Microsoft, okay, Access. Very important. Okay, so your database objects are table, okay, query, and then we have report, and then we have forms. So this is very, very important. Okay. Now, whatever we're just talking on the key things That is very, very important. Now for your table, let's talk about the table. For your table, we have what we call data type. Okay, so what are the data types for access? I'm just going straight to it. So we have the short text, although it had different version, but the short text suffice. We have the short text, we have your long integer. And the reason why it is long integer really, okay, is the fact that it stores 3 or more digits. 3 or more digits. Okay. And then we have long integer, short text, and then we have for numeric, which is your numbers. Okay. We have the following. Right? We have the following. Okay. So we have this. We have, of course, the long integer falls under the numeric anyway. So this falls under the long integer, under the numeric. So we have the long integer. We also have for double, right? For your paper one, it is called decimal. Okay, so this, the long integer falls under this. And we also have date with time. But in access, this is different. In access, date with time is on its own. Date with time. Okay, so just for paper two and paper one, just to help you. And then for your double, it stores your decimal. It is very important. When we talk about data type, we're simply saying it. You are simply telling access the type of data that should be in that field. Remember, when we talk about field, what is field? A single item of data, right? And records are collections of fields, right? We know this. Okay, so it is very important. That is why the data type you give to your field is important. If you're supposed to give, if you're supposed to give, let's say for example, double, right? 2 decimal places, and then you set it to long integer. What happens? It simply means that it's going to restrict that particular data that you're importing into your database, and the 2 other parts of that data is going to be lost, can't be recovered. And this is why it is very, very, very essential. And also we have Boolean, which is what? Your yes or no. We have not forgotten currency. Currency is also part of it, right? So we have what? Your currency. Now, what's the difference between the currency and the double? This is always the issue. Currency and double. Currency and double. So when you have a double, you're simply saying you have, for example, 2.48. This can be assigned as what? A double. But once there's an inclusion of a currency, the moment there's an inclusion, okay, of a currency, then this becomes what? Currency. And of course, when it comes to your field properties, what are we simply saying? We're simply saying that the number of decimal places that you are giving to this will be what? 2. Are we important? Are we getting this? Right? So that is why the first thing we need to do before importing your tables. All right. Note, before importing your tables, you must first create a database. Yeah, you must first create a database. And once you have created the database, what happens? Now you need to import that data, that file. I remember that file is .csv. And that .csv simply means a comma separated value. And now when you're importing it, it falls comma separated value. Now it falls under what we call external data. And that is why it is seen as what? A text file. Right? Now, when we are importing this, right, it is important that number one, we're importing it what? As a new table. Of course, the first one at default is going to be a new table. That is clear. And again, when we're importing it, It sees this as what? A delimited file. I know you all have been practicing, but I'm just here to ensure that you're doing the right thing while you're practicing, right? It's seen as what? A delimited file. And the delimiter for it is what? Comma. That's when you're importing it and it sees that the delimiter and checks it as it delimited and checks at the delimiter, it puts it what? As what? A table for you. And that's how in the types of database, we have two types of database, flat file and relational. Right. So what is flat file? Quickly, flat file is used to store data in one table. Yeah. And what's relational? It's used to store data in more than one linked table. Notice the difference. I said one table and then linked table. So it's not just more than one table, but more than one linked table. And what creates the linked table? Okay, good. Hope we're having fun. So what creates the linked table? The linked table is possible what we call a key field. You can see we're moving on a journey. And that key field is 2. So we have number 1, the primary key. And then we have the foreign key. Okay, so when we talk about the primary key, what are we saying? They are used to what? Hold unique data. Yeah. And for the foreign key, they are the primary key in a what? In another table. So when we talk about unique data, it simply means that no two records can be in the same field. Simple. That's what we mean by unique. So it's not just unique because no, it simply means that no two records can be in the same field. So now we're getting this. And please let's take note. Very important. This is always a mistake many students make, and I want to address that in the room. I want to address that in the room right away. Now, a primary key to a primary key is what? 1 to 1. Right? And a primary key to a foreign key is 1 to many. Make sense? So this is why. So when they're asking for you to create a relationship, and of course we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about that again. It is important that it's a primary key to a foreign key. So when we have created all the tables, we've inserted all the tables, okay, and we've assigned the appropriate data type. And let's take note, there's what we call visual verification, and I'll explain this. Now we're going to chapter 15. Right? We're just having a conversation. Right? So visual verification simply means that what you have in the question paper is transcribed or copied correctly into the database. So for example, if you're having a text in your question paper, you should know that it's short text. And if you're having currency, then you know that it's currency. If you're having Boolean, so in your question paper, you probably see something like this. Boolean, I want to give you all the tricks and everything you need to succeed, right? Because when you do well, it means we're all doing well, right? So when you see something like this, Boolean or logical, for access, it stores it as what? Yes or no. Please take note. Because most of the time, I see this when I'm marking to say, okay, a lot of students have some issues. You need to understand, Boolean simply means that you're given the option between yes or no, true or false. And now when you're creating your form, this is more or less like, towards the end of the whole class. But for your form, for yes and no, it is assigned as -1. For your no as what? 0. Please take note. In case you are creating a radio button, your yes is -1 and your no is what? 0. Please, this is important. Okay. All right. So once you have done that, the data type has been assigned properly, and all fields and records are properly shown. Okay. The next thing, right, is to create a relationship. Now, creating a relationship. A relationship. Now, creating a relationship is seen as what? A database tool. Okay, what will create a relationship? So it shows you the list of tables, and then this is what we do in the masterclass. Really, we try as much as possible to ensure that we're able to properly, right, teach learners how they can properly understand, interpret the question as much as possible. We dive deeper than just a past paper to ensure that at the end of the day, they're able to fully understand any question that is being administered to them. You can add it into the relationship section. We call that the relationship what? Section. Where you can now assign, you can now drag your primary key to your foreign key. So it's important. Most times they give you the primary key. Now there are 3 occasions. They will give you the primary key, right? For each of the tables. Most times they tell you to choose an appropriate primary key. What makes the primary key? Your numbers. They are unique. There's no redundancy. What we are simply saying that there's no repetition. That makes it unique. Your name cannot be a primary key. It's usually numbers. Either you have an ID or you have a number, something that does not repeat. You're having no two same records in that particular field. So that guides you on choosing a primary key. And let's take note. Excel is not a suitable database software. Why? You cannot assign data types. New knowledge. Take note. Okay. As you approach the few days, right? I know the whole idea is to ensure that everything you need to know and more will just be given here to you, right? All right, so we have this, the relationship section, and then we can now create it. When you're taking a screenshot of this, ensure there is citation of the relationship type, right? That simply means that you have to edit the relationship. Are we together? You have to edit the relationship. Now, the next thing is, once you have done that, you see, the next is inserting what? Records. Inserting records. How do you insert records? There are 2 ways to do that. We can do that in the datasheet view, and we can do that in what? In the form view. Forms. Forms. Let's talk about forms because they brought in forms in 2-1. Most of us students, they wanted to cry, right? So I don't understand what is happening. But yeah, we're able to scale through because yes, kudos to the May June students because we had a lot of A stars, a lot, a lot, a lot of A stars. You know, a lot of A stars, and again, we're also approaching for top in the world and even top in country in many countries. Yes, Eric, I think your hand is up. Okay, I have some questions here. They said, so are linked tables imported in one go? No, Elijah, no. Right? You have to import the tables one after the other. So, sir, linked tables is designed to reduce duplicated data. Yes. So when the tables are linked, that integrity is there. Okay. Now I haven't fully understood the Boolean part. You said -1 for yes and 0 for no. Yes, it is. Right. So this simply means that this from Elijah's Cendric. Now, this simply means that when you're creating your form, your yes is being assigned as -1 and your no is 0. It's the same thing when you're creating your form, when you're having multiple choice. Now, I will explain. I'm going to the form. Yes, will this be uploaded on YouTube? Yes, it will be uploaded on YouTube. Okay. All right. That's from Panda. It said, sir, can you post the recording on YouTube? I will do that. Okay. I will do that. Okay. Sir, can you give us an example of link table from past papers? Of course. We have the 2024. We also have for February, March 2021. You see February, March 2021 on forms. Check 2021. I think 2022 as well. We have and 2019. So 2019, 2021, 2022, there are forms there for you to actually play around. It said, yes, Eric, your hand is up. So Eric hand is up. So let me do that quickly. Yes, Eric, you can go ahead. You have the mic. Please go ahead.
Okay. In your most recent video, when you were the most recent video of database, when you were doing the 22 May June paper for 2024,
Okay.
there was a database of labels that I didn't fully understand. So, can we go through it in this time, like after forms maybe?
Oh, okay, Eric, I would do that. I will do that. Okay. Okay. So Skidby said, so sir, so basically it is suitable for data that contain large quantity of duplicate data. Now, the moment the tables are linked, the whole idea is whatever records now they are linked, we can now be able to perform searches. The whole idea of a linked table is to perform searches. And most of you wondering, perform searches on what? I am talking about query. Whenever you're performing searches on your database, it is called a query. And probably I'm going to show you, there is a new slide on my database that I've fully, probably in some part of the country, Saudi Arabia, they've started using it, but I'll probably just show you a glimpse of it. And I would probably make this slide available to you. I think I have it, it's right here, right? So this explains, this is 43 pages of slides. Now, this is the breakdown of database. I have taken my time to ensure that I've broken down database from the simplex, broken the complex ones into the simple ones. And this carries everything you will ever know on database. Everything, step-by-step process. If you don't know database at all, you've never heard the word of database. This is me doing everything from scratch, showing you what you need to understand about queries, so many questions. I have designed the source files for you to actually learn how to create relationships, how to create your queries, data entry on forms. I mean, how to create forms like this. I'll probably show you how you can create forms like this. At the end report of the forms, you can be able to have a form like this. This includes, and this is probably what came out in um, the May June 2024. So this is me showing you how you can do all this, the step-by-step process of how you can do this. And it's right here in this slide. Trust me, this slide is loaded. I mean, everything, all the criteria, how I performed everything, and how you can go about it. Screenshots, presenting your data, report labels, everything you need to know. It is, I mean, this slide is a touch from heaven, literally. So it is, I'll probably make this available free for you guys, and that would actually help you. It says, where do we get the PDF? It is not yet available on any store, right? But I think yesterday it was approved, and now we can just start distribution as much as possible. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to see how I can make that available. To probably just post the link. But today you should be able to have the slides on SlideShare, Scribes, and every other. We're trying to push it to every other stores as much as possible, school libraries, so that you all can have a look at it. Okay, it's really going to help you a lot. All right. So let's look at this. So we have the data sheet view and the form view. Now for the form view, okay. So this is very important. Now for the form view, we have the following. I'm probably going to break this down for you all, so that you actually see what I'm talking about in the form view. Now in the form view, we have the following. Okay. So we have the form header. Okay. And then we have the details. Okay. Now for your form header, this is where you put your title. Okay. For your detail, this is where you have your labels. And this is where you have your text box. Okay. So this is very important. And of course, your forms are columnar. Let's take note of that. Your forms are columnar. And the other thing that makes your form interactive, the use of drop down, that simply means your option group. Your option group. Very important. We talk about formatting. And that simply means colors. Now, your formatting can have a fore color, and we can have a back color. Okay? Are we together? A fore color and a back color. So this is very important. And once your form has been designed, you can now actually add the data into your form and then take a screenshot. Okay, so this is very important. Now, the next thing is query. And in query, we talk about how we can perform searches. Okay, how we can perform searches on the database. In this case, on Access. Okay, so yes, please take note, right? When we are performing our queries, it has to be from the table. Whenever, if you perform a query from a previous query, you get an incorrect result. I'm just saying it right now. You have an incorrect result. This is very important. Okay. So here you have a table. So you perform your query from a table. Okay. So this is very important. You perform your query from a table. Okay. And now what are those criteria? Because now once you're done performing using your query wizard, okay. So using your query wizard, once you're done performing that, and then you go to your design view. Okay. So we have the following. Now, please, let's take note of that. So here we have the following. So here we can see that we have your field, right? Which shows you the field that you have imported from the available to the selected. Okay. And again, whatever name you give your query, it is always important that that becomes the same for your report. Please, this is important. Okay. Please, let's take note of that. Right? So this is important. So whatever name you give should also be the same for that of what your report. Okay. All right. Now the next thing is, so we have the field here, and then the field, we have your table. It shows your table. And then we have what else do we have? So we have your field, your table, and of course, here we can also have sorting. Okay, sort. Now I want to talk about this sort here that you have. Now it is always recommended that you do your sorting in your report or label. Please let's take note, right? That you do your sorting from your report or your label, and then you have your criteria. Okay, and then you can have your all. Now let's talk about criteria quickly. Now for your criteria, the first criteria we have is the AND query. Okay. We have the OR query. Okay. Now for the AND query, this simply means that you're carrying out criteria on two fields at the same time, right? The OR, you're simply saying that you want either of which to actually display. So in this case, we have the is, and we'll just probably look at an example. For example, we can have let's say class is year 11, okay, and exam is yes. So we are performing these two together. We call them an AND query. For all, it could be okay, year 11 or exams. Okay. And then we have is. Is simply means that you want that particular word, right, to display. So we can use year 11 or we can use equals to year 11, right? So let's take note of that. All right. The next one is between. Now, for your between, what do we have? So here we can have between, and we use between for dates. Please let's take note. So between 2012 and 2024. That's what we have. Okay. And we have other mathematical representation of this. And I'm going to give it to you right about now. Okay, so we have similar mathematical formulas that we can use. So we have, for example, We have less than. So this is for less than. We have less than or equals to. But in this case, this is how we write it. We don't write it the mathematical way. We write it less than or equals to. And this is for less than. Okay, or equals to. Or you see it as less. And that number is the same thing. And then we have greater than. And then you have here greater than or equal to. Okay. And of course, we also have equal to, which is the is anyway, which is the is. Is the same thing as equals to. Okay. So this is very important. So these mathematical formulas cannot be used for query involving text fields. Please take note. They cannot be used for query involving text fields. All right. So this is very important. All right. Then the next one is wildcards. Okay. The next one is wildcards. When it comes to the wildcards, okay, how do we go about performing those searches for the wildcards? And I'll probably just show you here. So, for example, if you have a text that starts with exam, right? So let's talk about the wildcards that starts with exam. Okay, that starts with exam. What are we using? So this is going to be exam asterisk, and then every other word can come in here. If it ends with exam, this is going to be asterisk exam, right? So you can have other words here. Then if it contains or include, this is important. This simply means asterisk exam asterisk. Not including simply means you are using less than or greater than exam, or we are using not exam. Clear? All right, so this is very important. So these are probably the things you're going to use. The next one I want to talk about is a calculated field. In your queries, you'll be asked to do calculated fields, right? And those calculated fields is very important. So you do that in your design view, okay? And then under your builder. So I'll always prefer you to use your builder or build to actually do that because it's easier that way. So when you're using your builder or build to do that, once you're done with it, for example, let me give you something just for us to probably have an idea of what we are talking about. And I'll probably start it off with a question, and we can just use that to just explain the whole thing. Now, we can have an example to say, okay, we have a new field called profit, right? Create a new field called profit, okay, which is calculated at runtime. And this field will subtract the purchase price, okay, from the sales price. So what would this be? So this will be profit equals to, right? So this is going to be the sales price. In this case, this is going to be S price minus what? P price. Okay. Now, when you are creating with the builder, it goes with expression 1. Okay. So you have to probably change this to what? To the name of that particular word field. And then don't forget your property sheet. This is where you can now use your property sheet to be able to what? To now format that calculated field. When it comes to percentage, except you're being asked to probably multiply or divide with a 0, that is why your percentage is not a data type, but a formatting option. I'm going to say that again. Your percentage is not a data type, but a formatting option. Okay. Hope that is clear. All right. So after you've done that, the next thing is your report. Okay. The next thing you do is your report. Now, for your report, it is very important, right? Because again, for a report, you're using what? The report wizard to actually carry out this. Okay. And in your report, you can also perform calculations. Please let's take note. In your report, you can also perform what? Calculations. All right. So please let's take note of that. You can also perform calculations in your report. And I'm going to explain that again. Now, what are those things? So once you have done your report, most of the time they tell you to just sort it, right? Again, your report is tabular. What are the things you need to know? Your report is tabular. Okay. And then you have to sort. Okay. You have to give a name for your report. Of course, I've said that your name of the report will also be the name of your query. And again, once you're done with that, you probably need to arrange it, right? Remember, when you are creating your report, you do not group. So remember, it is an ungrouped data. Please understand this. And once you are done with all this, you probably need to rearrange the fields and records, okay, in that particular what? Order. Are we together? Now, when it comes to carrying out calculations, right, you will see it in your report design. In your report design, right? And then you can actually, we have the auto sum, okay, which is your sum. We have count records. We have average. We have the maximum. We have the minimum. These are the ones you are going to make use of. Okay, so these are the functions you are going to make use of. Now, it is always advisable when you are doing this to go to the design to actually do that. And it is important because while you're carrying out those formulas here, now if you want to do it from scratch without using the layout view, if you want to do the design view, you will use a text box. Okay, you can use a text box to actually what? Do that. Are we together? Use a text box to actually do that. And once you do that, you can now go to your what? Your property sheet. Now, your property sheet, on the property sheet, right? On the property sheet, under your control source, you're going to have the three dot that takes you to the builder. And then you can do that. In my next videos on database, you'll probably be seeing a lot of different methods on how I'm doing it. Why? Because of some of the things. In fact, there are so many questions on database that are not even on past papers, right? That are not even on past papers. And time will even fail me to even go on and on and on and on because there is a lot in database that, in fact, it's not even in past paper yet. Okay, so this is very, very important. Okay, so once you go to the builder, and then you can actually add in the formulas, and then you're done. Okay, and yes, I think Skibidi has a question. The next thing we're going to do is I want to explain the structure for your report. Okay, I want to explain the structure for your report so that we can probably have an idea about it. So I want to explain this real quick. Now, for your report, we have the report header. We have the page header. Please, I want to explain the difference. Okay, we have details. Okay, we have the page footer, and then we have the report footer. Okay, I can see your hands up. I'll call you now. For the page header, this appears at the top of the page only, top of the page. And yes, we have a subtitle. If this is your title, this appears to be, so in your top of the page, you can have a title and a subtitle. Yes, a title and subtitle. In fact, going through the database again, like I said, there are so many things. I'll probably, in fact, the masterclass, I'm reteaching the, if I've started reteaching the whole database concept again. and it's making all the students, in fact, they can't wait for database because now they're learning so many new things. And this is why the masterclass is important, right? And for those who have not enrolled into the masterclass, I don't know, you're probably missing, really. You're probably missing. I think the flyers are there somewhere. If Eza is here, probably Eza will just send the flyers to you guys. But for some reason, she's having a study. And yes, Eza is from Qatar, right? She's having a study and she said she'll probably make it. But I don't think if Eza, if you're here, please probably you can just notify, and you can just notify so that I would just actually call on you. Okay, so this is why the masterclass is very, very important. Okay, because again, it is a tailored kind of teaching that goes that gives you a one-on-one experience. So if you're not there in the masterclass, please, and you have an interest to know, because you have just like 5 or 6 days to probably be part of the masterclass. I think I have the flyer somewhere. I'm not sure. I think I have the master class. So this is very important. And it's not just on ICT. It's really not just on ICT. We have other subjects like physics, chemistry, biology, geography. It's the whole package. And these are teams of professionals and experience. But the people I work with, the team I work with, they are experienced, they're certified, they are examiners. Yes. So when we mark, we know how to, in the master class, I give tips on how you just know how to prepare yourself towards that. So if you're not there in the masterclass, you're probably missing out. You can just send me a message on the email. Just send us a message, and the representative is going to give you all necessary information that you need for the masterclass. I'm going to start taking questions now because time is not on our side. Yes. So let me. I think Skibidi, I'm going to call you right now because we're moving to document production and presentation, and then we'll just do a wrap up. So Skibidi, your hand is raised up. Probably you can just raise your hand again. Okay, let me call on okay, Skibidi, go ahead. Yeah, Skibidi, go ahead. Yes, Skibidi, you can go ahead. I think it's having a mic issue. Okay, let me call on Eric. Eric, go ahead.
I just had a question. In your most recent paper, I mean,
Okay.
in your most recent video on
Okay.
May, June 2024
Mm-hmm.
to 2,
Mm-hmm.
there was number 17,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw the label that you chose.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't really specify the sizing, because in the question they said 2 columns, 5 rows. Yes, you used 2 columns, but the size of 99 millimeters and 57 millimeters, I didn't really see you inputting it. So I just had a question if that's
Eric,
supposed to be.
good question. Good question. Let me quickly address that right now. Good question. Good question. Let me address that right now. So right here, right, for labels, I have it right here in this slide. Labels, where are you? Show yourself. In the time of need, you will be needed. Okay, so let me get it right here. Good. This is very important. I'm going to explain this right now. Eric, are you a student or a teacher? Okay, probably is okay, it's fine. Right? So now for your labels, right? You are required to produce other forms of output from a database. For example, producing labels to advertise a product or address labels for mailing letters to customers. Now, for report, this is what you choose. Okay, this is what you choose. You choose when you open your label wizard. Of course, you have to select the query to do that, right? You need to select the labels that contain 2 labels across page. And this is what you need to choose, the IVJ8166. Now, I didn't actually use that in my video. I had to use something close to, but this is what you need to use moving forward. The IVJ8166 label, because they are slightly larger than some of the other labels, okay, to fit the data as much as possible. So when you choose this, right, and it is slightly larger than all of them. And then it is important. The core focus here is that there are 2 across. And this gives you right here. Let me show you. This gives you the dimension of this is 99.0 to 93.1 millimeters. Okay, so from here, you do the magic in your design view. Everything you need to do, your the title of your work goes right here in this column. From your available field to your prototype labels, everything goes here. And once you're done with everything, you go to what? Modify. You modify what? The label design. And once you modify the label design, you have this. This is the view you're going to have, right? It is also important that once you're doing that in your label, you need to add a label. Why this is your text, but you need to add a name to a label to actually communicate what it is. Okay, so everything goes here. So and then of course the sorting of your label is actually done here. Where's the sorting? It's actually done here. This is where it's going to sort the label for you. And in the case that I tell you that it needs to be 8, it needs to be 10, all you have to do right here is to adjust it here in your detail, in your design view, right here on the details, adjust it, and that will solve your problem. And this is the output you're going to have. Okay, I hope that is explained. If you're a teacher, you probably have to just explain that for your student as well, so that they just get this information. Thank you very much. Okay, so some hands is raised up. I'm going to look at the comment. Some hand is raised up. So yes, Beleto. Yes, go ahead. You have go ahead. Beleto, go ahead. Okay, I think his hand is okay. Alfred, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, hello, teacher.
Okay, so
Uh, um,
yes, go ahead, Beleto. Beleto, I've unmuted you. I think. Okay, let me get you. All right, Beleto, go ahead.
Can you teach radio buttons in database?
Okay, I will do that. I will do that, Beleto. I will just quickly do that, right? All right.
Okay.
Yes, somebody had the question and his hand was raised. Alfred, I think that was you. Yes, Alfred, go ahead.
teacher, how about forms and forum for the database?
Is that what?
Like forums and forms.
Okay, forms.
Yeah, forms.
Okay, so I think I've explained the concept of forms for you because it is one of the ways you can insert your record into the database. So the first things you need in forms are the following. Number one, you need a title. Number two, you need an explanation of what each of the forms, of what each of the text blocks represent. And two, you need to give an appropriate name to your text box. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. Forms, where are you? Okay, forms is somewhere here. So I'll just show you what I'm talking about real quick. Where's the form? Form should be somewhere here. I can just show you and then you can see for yourself. Yes, good. So now notice my form here, right? So this is the form view. And this is what examiners really want because your ability to be able to interpret, to make your form very interactive. So it simply means that you probably have to change your field name in your labels into what the user can be able to type in. Okay, now this is a question that came out in the specimen paper for A-level. And if time would permit, I'll probably just show you quickly. Let me just show you the one I did for the A-level specimen paper. Let me show you that form. So you can actually see that. You can actually see what the examiner with the A-level specimen paper 2025 for A-levels, because the form came out. Where is it? I think 4. Yes. Okay, so this is the form. Let me open my database and show you how interactive form can be, because I want you guys to really learn this form. This is it. Right? Right? This is A-level. This is quite advanced, so you're probably not going to need this, right? But this is actually to show you it has to be very interactive, right? It has to be very, very interactive. So that's what we are saying. So your ability to be able to tell the users what the form is all about, giving instructions, okay, and not just adding that, adding the likes of radio buttons, and your radio buttons here are your option group, are your option groups, where you cannot be able to put all this and assign values. Now, if you're assigning values to this, let me just use it to explain. If you're assigning values to this is going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, but no year group selected. Now, this is like a no. No year group selected is going to be what? 0. Remember, our yes is what? -1, and our no is what? 0. Hope I've been able to answer your question, right? So please, it's question time because time is up. It's question time. Time will fail us to be able to go on and on and on and on because there is quite a lot. Okay, this is what we do in the masterclass, really. We try as much as possible to ensure that we're able to properly, right, teach learners how they can properly understand, interpret the question as much as possible. We dive deeper than just a past paper to ensure that at the end of the day, they're able to fully understand any question that is being administered to them. Yes, Eric, your hand is up. Please go ahead. If you have any question, you can unmute, put up your hand, you call. I will check the comment section as much as possible. Yes, Eric, go ahead.
Is this document like when is it going to be available for us in the group to get?
Okay, so I would discuss with them Ezra. I don't know why Ezra is not here. I'll probably discuss with Ezra and then we would see how we can get it across. For students in Qatar, probably that would be easy, right? You could just send a message on Discord and we would make that available to you. Do you understand? We'll make that available for you. For people in the Asia, so that's fine, right? Just send a message to Ezra and that will be fine. So, but we'll see how you can get it before your exam. That's the whole plan. You will definitely get it before your exam. Either just check in the community, the Ajiro Tech community, you get it, or in the Ajiro Tech hub, and you actually see it there before your exam. Promise. All right. Thank you. The next question. Let me go to the comment section and let's start answering questions. Okay. Now they said okay, there's so many. They said, sir, can you just check what if I understood from your explanation about the types of database is correct? First type of database has simple structures where data is held in two-dimensional tables and it's organized by rows and columns, which is stored in a single file. No, not two-dimensional tables. Now, in A-level, we have there's what we call normalization, right? So when we have the table, we break the tables into two, right? So you have, in the case, teacher's table and student table. Hope that makes sense. Let me close this, right? So this is very important, right? So the whole idea, when it's a linked table, then it becomes relational. Teacher, Alfred said, teacher, the criteria for end, we should just type it out like, yes, just type it out. So under the field of year 11, under the field of class, you type year 11, under the field of exam, you type yes, and you switch your initiative view, and that would work. Abigail said, good evening, sir. Please, sometimes when you format your calculated decimal values, okay, decimal values, and run it, it doesn't work unless you standardize it. Why is that, please? Good question, Abigail. Right? Good question, Abigail. So this simply means that when it's a decimal, you have to standardize it. Standardizing simply means that you are forcing every record to have that number of what? Decimal places. That is why when it comes to double, it has to be standard. So even the one, let's say for example, 2 decimal places and you have 4.28 and you have 4.6, you have 4.789. If you make it 2 decimal places or you have 4, if you make 2 decimal places, it's going to be 4.28, 4.60, 4.79, 4.00. Hope that makes sense, Abigail. So you have to standardize it, right? But for currency, you don't need to standardize it. You just need to add the number of decimal places. Hope we're learning. It said, will the database revision be available before? Yes, of course, it's going to be, the video is going to be available. Promise. So I can talk on mic. So my mic isn't working. Can you see my text, sir? Okay. Okay, it's fine. Eric said, can you teach radio buttons which come in recent medium paper? So yes, I think I've done that radio button. So we have the option there. I think I've answered that. Okay, so how do you count the number of data within a set of things in a report? Using the formula. And what formula do you use? Very good. So how do you count the amount of data? So to count the amount of data, you use count, right? That's going to be count records. If you want to know the sum total of the amount of value, you use sum. Now, when you put this here, now notice something. Let me have class. Notice something. This is telling access that this is a field. that this is a field. So this is important. Okay. So how much are you selling the PDF? Okay, no, I'm not. No, it's not for you guys. It's not for sale. It's free. I'm just giving you guys free. My way of saying, yeah, just giving you guys free. I'm not selling it for now. But on bookstores, you will probably have to just buy. But since you're here, you probably get it free, right? All right. Okay. So may I know how I can get this note? Of course, I would send the note across to you. Okay. So yes. So we'll probably have to. I think that's the last question so far. Any else have a question? Please, the masterclass is important, right? There are so many things I've not talked about in database. I've not talked about now in presentation. What are the things you need to take note of? You have to take note of your master slide, very important. You have to take note of charts. How can you put your charts, and of course your slide layout. Your slide master is important. Know your comments and your link slide. Know your slide layout, your title slide on content, how you can print the slide. Difference between a speaker note or a presenter note and an audience note, very crucial. And how you can print your print layout, your handout. For document production, it is a whole different ballgame. You're looking at your styles. That's chapter 14, styles. Okay, how to create a corporate house styles. Okay, your style manager, your style organizer, how to ensure that there are no window or offense. Okay, very important. How to carry out a visual check. Now, visual verification is important, but we need to do what we call proofreading, and all this and more is what you get in the masterclass. So if you're not in the masterclass, I don't know, you'll probably miss it. So if you just send a message there, I think Ezra and the teams, they would just do their due diligence and they will reply to you with every necessary information. So that the email is right there. It's just ajirotech@gmail.com. Literally just the name. It's not something complex, just ajirotech@gmail.com. Okay. So if you've not done that, you probably want to do that now. All right. It said, sir, count records and count value. When do we know when to use it? So it's count records you usually use, not the values. When it comes to numbers of data, it's count record use, not count values. Okay. Sir, where can you send the link? It really helped me a lot. I will do that, really. Okay, I will do that. So any more question as I'm about to round up? Okay, because I have a masterclass in about 35 minutes. And yes, for those who are not aware, there is a masterclass phone. Now that is strictly for the masterclass students, and that is a day before the exam. You don't want to miss that because it's an all-nighter, a day before the exam, and it's called the masterclass phone, only strictly for the masterclass students, right? So if you're not there, just send a mail, right, to that. All right. So Ako has a question, and then we'll probably round up with this. Yes, go ahead, Ako. Ako, go ahead. I think your hand was raised up. Okay, probably hand is not raised up. So any more question? Any question? Okay, Ako, go ahead.
Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Ako.
May I know where to get your notes? As it's really good.
Okay, I would send it across, right? You probably have a link in the community page on the YouTube channel. So just probably check it. You probably see a link there.
I have tried, but it's unable to open it. So yeah.
So I will send you a direct link on various websites you can get it, or for my drive. So whichever one that works for you, that's fine.
So could you send it to me as soon as possible?
I will do that. I will do that. Just estimate 48 hours. How's that for sure? Estimate 48 hours and you would definitely have it. All right.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Good. Okay. Any more questions? We're shutting down right now. Right? Any more questions? Any question? Please, any areas of concern that you have, any question at all as you prepare for your paper 2. Okay, so please, let's have it. And I'm here to attend to every question that you have. Okay, so Venom has a question. Yeah, Venom, go ahead.
How do you put buttons on the forum?
Okay, good. Now, for your buttons, right, you will see it literally there in your, let me open my slide. You see it here for buttons. Look at it. You see it here. Let me zoom it in and you see it here. So let me explain this. Let me use this to explain this real quick. So here you have your buttons. Let me do this. So here is your buttons, right? Here is your label. Here is your text box. This takes input from the user. Here's your input from the user. Here is your list box. Here is your combo box. Here is your option group. Right? And if they ask you for pictures, by all means, you have it here. Pictures. Right? So that is fine.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Venom. Okay, that's from Venom. All right. Any other question? We're shutting down in 15 or 20 seconds. So any question? Abigail, you have a question? Or you're good? Okay, I think that, let me see. Yes. I said, thank you so much for the session. Really appreciate it. Sir, can you place your name in the page footer, right? Good, Abigail, you asked a very good question. Now, what is for the page footer? Real quick, let me just use that to explain. Now, this is it here. Now, your page header, this is for your fields, right? And they appear at the top of every page. Your details is your body, right? Your page footer appears at the bottom of every page. Bottom of every page. Okay? And your report footer appears at the last page at the bottom. This is where we use forward our calculations of as well, right? So make sense, Abigail? All right. Yes, I think Abigail from South Africa, right? Yes, Abigail from South Africa. All right. Okay. Yes, any more questions? We're shutting down now. Any more questions? Any more questions? Yeah, you can send us a mail again from agiletech at gmail.com if you're interested for the masterclass. And I wish you Godspeed, right? If you have any question, do what to send it, and I will do my best to reply to it. Okay. All the best, and I wish you all good success in your exam. Please make me proud, right? I know you guys will make me proud, right? So let's get those A stars, right? All right. Alicia, yeah, I'm glad I could help. All right. Take care now. Bye for now. Bye-bye.